All right, and welcome back everyone to Minnow Cup Rainmaker Edition, and we got round 3 of Swiss coming up right here next with Red Velvet Sea versus Daybreak, and we'll be starting this all off on Rainmaker on MakoMart.
You
Um,
know,
any thoughts?
I could go with some red velvet cake.
Oh yeah, absolutely, Red Velvet Cake. That it's been a while since I've had some of that, and ah definitely, I'm getting a little hungry looking at this set. Less for the Daybreak, more for the Red Velvet, but
We could pick up some red velvet cake as we go to the MakoMart. Um, I okay. Personal opinion, I don't like this map. It's
yeah, I guess where I stand is that MakoMart is a really good zones map. It's a solid power map. It's a decent clams map, and if you're catching my drift where the bar's kind of dropping a little bit lower and lower, it's also not maybe my favorite Rainmaker map.
I mean, I'm just in general. It's not. Maybe it's just for me. This map is just not for me. Is the best way I could put it. Like
Sure.
I understand why it's pretty balanced for the most part. It's very fight heavy. I like to say a lot of short range weapons, like your rollers, like your blasters, like your brushes, like your short range shooters. They really thrive on this map because they can really take advantage of those ledges, of those little those elevation changes. They can really use that. But yeah, it's just for me, it's not one of my favorites.
Think what's I completely respect that, but I think what's particularly interesting about Rainmaker on Mako is that it's it's one of the few maps in Splatoon 3 that does a lot of different things with its particular mode variation of the map. On Rainmaker, as many of you know, uh, you have quite a few like tall snipe points that can be taken and just areas where like you can gain a lot of control really quick. The back area from spawn is completely moved from being more right oriented to left oriented, where you're going to be seeing teams more so pushing up from their left stack typically, whereas before they would have to go kind of diagonally to that and they would be coming off of the right drop initially. So there's definitely quite a few interesting opportunities on the unique whole like kind of architecture and structure of how this whole map is shaped. So heading to this next set here, um, we have quite a few interesting matchups and players here with some traditional low rank beta and even alpha appearances from the side of both teams, I think, if I'm reading this all correctly. So compared to the last couple sets where we had some more traditionally lower level players that have been really grinding the past few months and getting some more higher leveled placements, we're starting to see some of these more uh, kind of older guard players in the community.
I mean, hey, we like to see improvement. The more that these teams really like play, the better they're gonna get. As we're gonna hop straight into game at number one, but it looks like unfortunately our streamer is playing, so that'll be a quick reset. As you know what, that just happens sometimes.
You know, it do be happening sometimes, but part of me also wonders what would have happened if we played that set out too.
That would be funny, but
Yeah, we got our streamer here on the carbon roller. Maybe the V carbon, I think, of all things. Like, imagine
ooh.
those Zipcaster plays onto the snipe.
Yes, I love my favorite special in the game, the Spider-Man that dies when it gets looked at by a charger.
Yeah, the Zipcaster plays really come down to like not necessarily zip casting immediately towards the opponent, but like hey, trying to get that Zipcaster started in maybe a bit more of a hidden spot, and then moving around away from them, and then suddenly like you take an off angle, and it's like oh shoot, there's a Zipcaster coming right towards me, and you have very little time to react to it. So if we see that come out from either side here in this upcoming set, I do think it would be funny to see maybe those surprise plays.
Now, okay, that'd be funny. But on the side of Red Velvet, at least the little bit that we saw, I'm pretty sure I saw an ink brush.
Ooh.
I'm pretty sure there was an ink brush. I don't remember which member it was, but I'm pretty sure there was an ink brush. And they keep the ink brush,
Yeah.
that is going to be very deadly because, as you know, ink brush is the rat weapon of all time. You are going to run around, you're going to be a distraction, and you're going to make sure that the rest of your team has a lot of space to work with.
Yeah, that a brush player in particular is actually going to be Twin Bees. So um, they're quite the brush one trick for their team, maining both of the standard paint brushes. So heading into this next match here, we do see the Nouveau come out with a Zap and Splash and Ballpoint to back it up with a Ballpoint, Emperry's Zap, and Order Roller coming out from the side of Daybreak.
Very interesting that both teams went with ballpoint. Ballpoint, at least now in this meta, is kind of overshadowed by the pencil because pencil just kind of bullies it at some points. But already looks like Daybreak is gonna be able to get a little bit of something going. Only get down to 88 though, not a huge push, but so far they're looking to make that jump route though. Red Velvet is not gonna let them have that super easily.
Yeah, absolutely not. They're not. And we see here the crab, unfortunately, going down on Red Velvet. And that's going to be the Rainmaker getting capped on the side of Daybreak and them getting,
Oh,
even
they're
more
still
points
going.
on the board. And that's like a little bit of a. That cut is something that is kind of forgotten. It's sort of like Mana Maria's with the drop, but obviously a bit more tame. But that can be the difference maker if you're not able to get a solid right push going down at any point in the match.
I mean, so far, Daybreak is not letting up. Even having their ballpoint windbreak just being so far up, Heartbreak's gonna take it, getting it down to 5, and they're still here. I'm not gonna keep saying break because that's too many syllables, but so far, right now, Red Velvet just needs to get the members of Daybreak out of their base as quickly as possible. Both jets are gonna be popped, a bit of a mid-air fight, but in
That's
the
cap.
middle of the fight, I believe it was the roller for Daybreak that says, you know what? I'm taking this. I'm winning. We're done.
Yeah, the Inkjet doing a great job there of getting the ballpoint distracted and some of the other members of Red Velvet distracted, and just being like, hey, I like to shark. I like to do some sneaky plays. Why don't I just take this Rainmaker and go ahead and get the cap going and
I
end the match right here?
I mean, they just played even though they have a dedicated backliner being that ballpoint, they just played super aggressively. And I think that's what ballpoint can really strive at. It can push up much, much quicker than basically almost any other backliner in the game. Since you do have that short range mode, you're probably gonna run a lot of run speed, so you can just run around very, very
Yeah,
quickly. You're just very, very mobile with ballpoint, and right there, Daybreak showed why.
they really did, and they kept that pressure up. They never ultimately got fully wiped that whole set where they had to restart from mid. They kept that pressure up on the left checkpoint zone very well, and they kept edging it forward and moving forward repeatedly over and over, making sure that, hey, okay, we're starting to get pushed up a little bit on. Let's give them a little bit of space, but then let's snap right back to what we were doing before, and it worked really well for them. And they kept some of those sharks in play, some of those off angles in play, like we saw the roller ultimately closing out the match with. So, Red Velvet not necessarily out of the game yet. We do still have 2 remaining matches where we could see a 1-2 situation happen with Daybreak, uh, potentially uh, still being able to close out the set from theirs end as well with this 1 point lead from their hand. But yeah, moving into this next game, we're going to see Rainmaker on Robo Robin. Any thoughts?
This map can go one. Well, okay. So everyone knows Robo Ramen is kind of like the Z shape, less so than
Yeah.
Barnacle. So I think when you first pop it, the left side's gonna look very, very attractive, and I think it can be very, very attractive. But then you have to remember again, you're gonna have to divert a lot of attention towards that left side. So I think for both teams, they're gonna at least. Cause I think the first checkpoint is close. Yeah, the first checkpoint is super close. So that first checkpoint is probably be what they go to if they get a good opening and a Squiffer from the and then oh, hold on,
Aerospray.
hold on, a Squiffer from Red Velvet and an Aerospray for
Daybreak.
Daybreak.
Yeah, that silver Aerospray with the reslider is going to be particularly interesting to see how it's played. Both sides having a lot of paint on their hands overall. The heavy edit doing a great job of, from the ballpoint, being able to move up a bit more actively and play with the team's momentum a bit more aggressively. But we already see some fights going down in mid, and once Daybreak going, I think, 2 down to start off the match, but they still have quite a bit of paint in zone despite that.
I mean, yeah, they got flanked by both the Squiffer and the Brush, so that kind of shut down any pushes before it started. That's a quick 2 down for Daybreak. Red Velvet in position to score, but unfortunately, the Squiffer couldn't get their bubble off, so now, just like that, the Rainmaker is going to be forced back as the members of Daybreak are going to slowly close in on him. Heartbreak's going to go down. Looks like the ballpoint's going to get him, and with the roller, so not a lot of room to move there for the Rainmaker.
Yeah, both teams are trying to just fight in this core mid-zone area where we typically see the splat zones placed, and we just see constant fights really up close, where the brushes, in some cases, are flourishing, but in others, when they are trying to move up onto the midline players, are struggling just a little bit. That shot player, Goro, doing a great job of getting a pick, but unfortunately going down as well, making a trade. And we see, once again, 3 up, I guess 3 and 2 up, respectively.
I mean, so far, Twinbee getting a nice double kill and somehow managing to stay alive. That's very impressive. The aerospace goes and go down eventually. And so far, Red Velvet's looking very different from the first game. They're winning a lot more of their fights. They're getting a lot more trades in their favor. Because remember, we're 2 minutes into this game and still Daybreak has yet to score. That's very unfortunate there. Nice kill there on the ball point, and still a lot of pressure is coming from Red Velvet. The bubble is gonna come out to stop it, but it's not gonna work.
Yeah, that Squifford player doing a great job of holding the pressure and playing in those up close quarters on the grates earlier, as you could see. Just doing a great job of landing the hits they needed and getting the picks they needed. Illusion doing a great job of holding the paint down as best they can and getting those picks they needed here and there as well. And now we're kind of in a standstill here. Obviously, Red Velvet wants to get more points on the board. They have the bubble to help a little bit with that, but it does go down within the bubble, and the bubble breaks very quickly. And Daybreak is in an excellent position here with that Reef Slider momentum to try to get a pick. They get 2 picks even, and get some points maybe on their board now as well.
I mean, they gotta watch out for Twinbee here as, yup, there it is. Brush shuts down immediately, gets another double kill. I swear, every time the spectator cam has gone to Twinbee, they are always getting at least 1 or 2 and keeping Daybreak at bay, not allowing them to get any points on the board, because we are about a little more than 90 seconds left in this game. Daybreak has yet to score. Not yet to break the Rainmaker, or yet didn't get to the Brayer, not yet to get close to the first checkpoint. They have yet to get on the board.
Yeah, they have. That's right. And we see Goro doing a great job holding down the checkpoint area while the Rainmaker is actually moving forward in the meantime. And wow, okay, Daybreak, they were able to stop that push to their credit.
I mean, yeah, they were able to stop it, but now it becomes, can they do that for themselves? They get on the board, but only down to 88. With only a minute left to go. They have to start winning these fights, because for most of this game, they have yet to win like a major team fight, as another win out for Red Velvet and give them a skip situation. Windbreak gonna go down before they pop the jet, and with just a little bit more room, they're able to get down a little further, down to 37 with a basically game-winning push right here. Daybreak, they're gonna have to get a lot has to go right for them to get anything going.
Much like we saw last game with some of the Rollers players on the side of Daybreak making key picks here and there to keep the pressure up, we've seen Twinbee on the rush here on this match doing a great job of just getting all up in the other team's business, making sure Daybreak can't comfortably move up, making sure that you're always going to be 2 down and not be able to get too much done. And we see them on their own checkpoint, not being able to pop the Rainmaker, and that's going to actually be the game, with it now going 1-1 overall in this set.
Our first game three that decides the set winner is very
Uh,
interesting. But yeah, it looked like from an outside perspective, Red Velvet was like a completely different team. They did not let their foot off the gas because in that first game, they could barely get any momentum. They couldn't really do a whole lot. They were on their back foot that entire game. But in game number two, they switched gears. They decided to flip the switch. They're like, hey, we want to win. We are not going down. If we're gonna go down, we're at least winning one game, and they have a chance to win the set possibly.
and I think, honestly, they might just do it, but again, we did see Daybreak basically doing the exact same thing for their team earlier, but I think this is going to come down maybe partly to the dynamics of the map, where maybe Daybreak was able to profit a bit more from those odd bits of the whole map design, being able to get the certain drops where, hey, it like you can't stop us from now when we get a few more points on the board just because we got a sneaky drop here with the Rainmaker on that one cut spot of MakoMart in our first match, whereas on Robo Robin, it's a much more generally traditional map. You do have a long straightaway once you get the first check down on the left side, but overall, it's much more easier with bubbles and other map items to really keep down certain parts. So we're going to be heading into Rainmaker on Humpback on this next map, and if you ask me, it's sort of a weird hybrid kind of what we saw before with the dynamics of the two previous maps.
Okay, I'm gonna make a prediction right here.
Yeah.
I expect Twin B. You said they were a brush one trick, right?
Yeah, Twinbee is a
I
brush
I
one trick.
I expect them to be popping off right now because if there's anything I know, Humpback Pump Track is like one of the best brush maps because you have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of elevation to work with. You can have a lot of sneaky routes to go around. You can just you could be a little rat, just dodging, ducking, diving, just all over the place, and just making sure you are as annoying to deal with as possible. And if Twin B and by and large the rest of Red Velvet are able to do that, I could see a very, very quick Rainmaker game going down.
Yeah, this might be a quick game that we're about to see, but regardless, this set is 1-1 on the board, and we'll be seeing who ultimately becomes the winner as we move after this into Swiss round 4.
I mean, yeah, here we go. Illusion bringing out the mini Splatling and the Tetra Dually is coming out.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah, a bit of a different play there from our Brush One trick player, going for maybe a bit more of an experimental option, but that Reef Slider might also be to their benefit in its own respect, too.
I mean, yeah, but on the side of Daybreak, they decide to go with the end parry dualies, so a bit more of an aggressive option with the splash on the clearouts in the space early on. Just a lot of fights, not a lot of definitive action from either team, though. Red Velvet's gonna pop the Rainmaker first, have a cooler, so they have opportunity here to get the first real lead of the game. Though they are gonna go one down, so that might hinder their progress.
Yeah, it might hinder it indeed, and we're seeing quite a few skirmishes happen in mid with the Tetras unfortunately going down. Tight Red Velvet having 2 players down in mid, but while all that's going down, Daybreak sneaks in the checkpoint, even though they don't necessarily have the most comfortable player count up and push in their favor.
I mean, yeah, you know what? That's a Rainmaker at the absolute most random times. You just have someone snatch it and go. And so far, it looks like Red Velvet's gonna try to do that to Daybreak, as they're gonna be, although they're gonna be held here by at least a couple of members of Daybreak, though they are gonna go 3 down with a clear path to the Rainmaker. That's gonna be an easy dunk and possibly the lead here, because all they have to do is pop it, and with no contest in sight, that'd be an easy pop and lead. Icebreak on a flank though, trying to go for something, not able to get it. The splashdown will do it eventually.
Exactly, and we do see Red Velvet's push temporarily stall the Tetras. I think they might have just been up in their business back there, but we see Daybreak going forward regardless of that, and only 3 players up from each side, as Daybreak is really going to have to make something happen here if they want to keep this match in their favor.
I mean, yeah, but so far, Daybreak has not been able to do a whole lot on offense other than that first push. They've been playing or they've been forced to play very defensively, not allowed to use their comp, which by and large is very aggressive. They have roller, they have end parries, they do have the double curling bomb, they have the inkjet, they have the cooler. They should be able to play super aggressively. Just so far, they've been held back. They've been kind of contained. They have not been allowed to basically play their game. With we do see both the Resider getting the splashdown in mid-air. I didn't know that could reach that, but you know what? It's gonna work in Red Velvet's favor, as they're gonna get a couple more points on the board. Illusion with the Rainmaker. 20 seconds left, gonna keep on going. 20, 19, 14, 12, and at that point, that might be a game-winning push for Red Velvet.
Yeah, once you start to get under really even that 30 remaining point mark, it's notoriously difficult to get more points on the board unless if you get a convenient wipeout on your hands. And that might just have to be what Daybreak makes happen here. They're all kind of grouping up on the right here. They do get a couple picks. They do have the specials getting pushed out on their hands. And we do see a couple go down on the side of Red Velvet, so this isn't necessarily over just yet, but that crab might stall it out just long enough for Red Velvet to make something happen here.
Yep, the crab, the reef sided, that's going to do just enough, and nobody going down for Daybreak. They're able to easily overwhelm the breakfast there on the roller, and they're able to pop the Rainmaker in their color, avoiding disaster. And so far, if you're Red Velvet, you're in a really good spot. The other team has to get down to 11, which is basically right up against the Rainmaker pedestal. You have Rainmaker, you can just keep, as long as you keep the Rainmaker on the opponent's side, you're good to go.
Yeah, agreed, and we're going to see Red Velvet here. Once again, they're trying to get some more points on the board, maybe being a little bit too cheeky about it, everything considered, but it's all about that pressure. It's about putting the Rainmaker in a spot that the other team isn't going to necessarily really like, and even though Daybreak does have control technically of where the Rainmaker is right now, Red Velvet has control of all of mid. So who's really the winner from that engagement?
I mean, yeah, you could say that again, because the splashdown is going to be able to temporarily make it more neutral, but unless they get the members of Red Velvet out of mid first, they're just going to paint over it super easily. So with under 20 seconds left, Red Velvet just has to hold on. Daybreak has one last opportunity. The crabs are going to expire just in time. The zap's going to go down. Less than 10 seconds. They're going to have to pick it up and just go for it. Swashy here just stalling the Rainmaker. They're going to get one. The members of Daybreak making a mad dash for it, but they're not quick enough. Twinbee for Red Velvet will end that game with just camping the Rainmaker. It's going to work in their favor, and just like that, Red Velvet will take game number 3 and take the set 2-1.
Yeah, little reverse sweep in their favor there with the 1-2 going on. So congrats to both teams for an excellent showing, and really a super close game there when it really came down to it. Red Velvet getting some of those more important pushes fully realized, but Daybreak also keeping some of their own respective pressure up. Honestly, like we were talking about earlier, the brush player who we saw traditionally via Twinbee was doing an excellent job with their rush picks earlier, but honestly, I think that Tetras was really in their favor when it came down to it. We saw the Tetras being responsible for making a lot of those important plays, like Tetris ultimately were able to take out the Rainmaker last second by hurling themselves into mid and just lasering down the Rainmaker spot, and it really worked out nicely.
I mean, yeah, they had that bit the mobility. While yes, it's a lot less of the brush, it's a lot more um variable than the brush is the best way to put it, because you have four rolls that can go basically anywhere.
Yeah.
So I think that just kind of allowed them to make just do a whole lot more, since everyone knows tetras are like the run at you weapon, or one of the run at you weapons in the game. They kind of just like, you know what the tetra's gonna do, you know they're gonna be in your face, you're gonna have to deal with it. And for Red Velvet, that worked out in their favor, and for Daybreak, they got kind of overwhelmed with that. I believe with Red Velvet's second push, where they got all the way down to 12.
Yeah, agreed. So that's going to wrap up this set here, and I think that's also going to wrap up our time as well with you all on stream, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it is.
So I've been Omazen. You can find me at Omazen_monkey at Twitter. And it was a pleasure being able to talk with you all. And Topic, where can everyone find you?
Yeah, you can find me over on Twitter as well, unfortunately, at
Yeah.
topical2. Find me on Discord, topic_2, where you can basically hear where I'm commentating next or whatever I'm thinking about. And yeah, that'll be it from us. But stay tuned, because we got round 4 coming up with Marshy and Yoshi. So stay right there. We got more coming your way. Uh, let's go Minnow Cup.
Yeah, let's go, Minnow Cup. And we have some exciting games coming up. Have a good one, everyone.